Welcome, everyone, to... We're going to do it?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Welcome, everyone, to Patch Notes
from the future.
Okay. And this is where we do our second live stream. I'm sorry, the first live stream of the month after the Q&A, which is on the previous Tuesday, which is the reading of what we've done in our develop branch / test branch as we make our way to live.
Consult your Crowfall decoder ring.
Yes. So if it's the second Tuesday of the month, it must be time for the patch notes. And Mark and I are going to tell you why we made changes and all kinds of fun things. There is not too much 5.7 in here because we're really not ready to talk too much about that. But a lot of people haven't seen the 5.6 stuff because it's just been up for, what, less than 24 hours on test.
Snap tests.
We've had a couple snap tests. We've been fixing some bugs, some of the bigger bugs, while engineers working on some of the architecture stuff that they're walking through. And we will read you the stuff that we did and some of the other people did. All right, so what do you want to do, Mark? I don't know that we need to read every single one of the skill trees ones, but hit kind of like the highlights.
Sure. You want me to start? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is 5.6, everyone.
All right.
Feel free to ask questions as we go through, and we will
so let's see.
Answer them.
Talk about skill trees here. So in progress, adding sounds to skill tree menus. Those are new and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Fix some issues with things not dimming correctly. Fix an issue where you couldn't train the first skill in fighter tree.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Fixed a bug where first time in skills, all nodes would appear to be unlocked. Sounds like a good thing. Added more information to several skill nodes to include recipe unlocks. So that's new. So fix server refresh of skills on training. We added some placeholders for new upcoming race and class trees.
But then the race ones, you did all the work to get that finished. So those placeholders got removed and replaced with real stuff.
That is true. I did do that.
Not that anyone can get there yet because it takes a considerable amount of time, but...
let's see. Fix an issue with training not working properly on the next skill node.
Mm-hmm.
Add a graphic to include when all skill lines need to be trained as a prerequisite for another node.
Yeah, I hope everyone...
good. Yeah, it's a little dotted.
I hope people are noticing that because there is on most of the connections between two nodes, you'll notice that there's a dotted line. That dotted line represents the amount of pips you need in the previous node to unlock the next one. So it's not just random, hey, here's some dotted lines. The dotted lines actually have meaning.
Let's see. Removed all way the leader passive skill nodes from the profession skill trees, which I believe you've placed.
I created the new command skill tree. The idea there was I was trying to get the profession basics trees to like the, I think it was 30 days. I wanted to make it so that you could get through that guy in like a 30 to 60 range. And those command skills were just so advanced that they were boosting up the time of the base trees. So it also made sense to put them in kind of their own tree. So those basics trees are now balanced around getting you through pretty quickly. In fact, the first couple nodes are 5 hours to 5 pip them. So it's an hour a pip. Yeah, they're pretty quick.
Created new command skill, which is just all the stuff you just said. Completely rebalanced skill node XP. All curves are less of a dogleg, more of a straight line. Right? Did a lot of work on that. Again, kind of what you just sort of said, but pretty much for all the skill nodes, right? So
yeah, basically all the way through. The idea was that everybody was just kind of bum rushing through the trees as fast as possible, and you were basically never going back to get the fifth pip in anything. And actually the trees look really good when you have everything 5 pip because you get the special little piece of artwork. It also was because basically we divided the value up equally 5 times. However, the final slice of the pie was pretty much the cost of half of the entire pie, which made it that last node really just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it was just a slog.
So we normalized all of it, and what you'll see now is that it may not be beneficial to rush to the end because the node that you're going to train from 4 to 5 right here is cheaper than the first pip in the next node. So now there's a little bit of decision making you have to do is if you really want to rush through the tree or if you actually want to stay there and 5 pip a lot of things, which because they're cheaper, I think you are going to.
Race skill tree is not updated. Yeah, so race skills. What else we got? Added stats, the crafting research lines in addition to the recipes granted. So fixed adding both profession tracks appearing as primary. Not sure what that meant. And skill tooltips null support more stats, which is good because
you created nodes that had 5 stats
I had six actually.
The 6 stat broke a bunch of the boxes.
Yeah, and we support up to N.
Right.
That's just making our UI support what the server supports.
Well, let's see some of these questions. Might as well do it as we're going through. We found that worked better last time.
Okay, sure.
Just because we're actually that way we don't have to scroll and figure out what we were saying 20 minutes ago.
That makes sense.
So, any thought on turning down the 75 requirement as it forces a lot of time and skills? Many combat people would seem optional as best. Most of them were tuned down such that you needed 2/3, I think, of the tree before you could advance. Some of the combat ones were increased. So again, we're futzing with numbers.
Definitely let us know.
Yeah,
how you feel.
We make the last node of all the trees more interesting, having to take all the branches to get to the last node. Yeah, there's a piece of tech I would like to get, Soul Reaver, which is the mastery box. I don't want it connected to any of those nodes. It'll just sit off the side. And when you train the whole tree, that guy will go active. So it won't just be you need to 5-pip the final 3 or 4 nodes. You'll actually need to train the whole tree to unlock that thing. But that means because it's so expensive to get there, we can make it more powerful.
Right. And it means...
it really is a mastery box.
Yeah, truly. And I mean, there's actually still some tech you want for exactly the ability to give recipes or even abilities or whatever. But there's still things we can do and actually plan on doing to make the mastery boxes beefy, right?
Yeah.
Make them worth the time to put into them. So certainly not done working on what the boxes themselves give, particularly the mastery.
With map clusters coming, will we possibly see a drag soon? Well, that's a 5.7 thing. Hopefully the clusters will be working. My dinosaur keeps changing colors. Good job, Gibson. Gibson always likes to keep it fresh, everyone. Is it intended to have philosophers so late in the game? I kind of liked 5.5 Alchemy. It hadn't a lot, but felt nice. Now it's not really worth it at the moment.
I think you mean the Philosopher's Stone?
Yeah, the recipe is now at the end of the research line. So a lot of those additives, basically the idea was the additives all went into the 4th research node in the current trees. So it's an additive. Like armor layers are all the way at the end there as well. That is intention. You'll notice that there's a pattern between all the trees. Additives generally went on the final one. The weapons that were granted by the weapon mastery disciplines, for example, they're on the second to last node. So there was some rhyme and reason to how we did ration those things out. So yes, it is intended. Todd has repeatedly said you're allowing sibling trees to be trained together going forward. When can we expect to see that? Not anytime soon. Just to be honest with you there. Any plans on removing leadership crafting or changing the way it works? Wouldn't enchantment of components be a better way to get groups involved in crafting? I'm not sure why Tark is asking for the changing the way that works. Because you just group with somebody, and if they have the leadership stuff, that they give everyone in the group a buff. Enchantment or components be a better way to get groups involved in crafting.
Yeah, not sure.
I'm not sure why. I mean, because basically one would be an offline way if you made it into an object or whatever, versus one requires you to actually have a person there who's getting the buff. Isn't it on necromancy now in the skill trees? Necromancy grants its recipes. It was actually the first one we did that has the recipes granted in a progression order. People complain that the person is just standing there while the other crafts. Well, you don't have to just stand there. You can You can always talk, or but yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it's a group buff. Yeah. While it's a small part of the game, it's already something we're trying to make work. Guilds, it would be really nice to have. Yes. I am not sure. So Gordon has been handling the guild stuff because that is part of our web architecture. It's not part of our engineers don't have to write that. So that's part of the group that is maintaining all of our entitlements and all of that other stuff. So I'm not sure how that is tracking. It's not that we haven't forgotten about guilds or wanted to do guilds. It's just that we're not doing them. A lot of times it's just an AFK alt account that has crafting leadership that everyone groups with, FYI. Yeah. You could do the same thing with combat. However, that'd be kind of foolish because then he would just get smashed because no one would be controlling him. Right? So, yes, you can do that because it's safer in town. But someone will eventually train those skills and they'll group up. So, leadership bots. With the caves, one of the people has to fight most of the time, so Justin, maybe the mob spot rate, so you will not stand. We are still working at the rates of spawn and all of that stuff. Don't even think that what we have currently is representative. I mean, we just got the day and the night mobs hooked up in the 5-7 branch, so that's going to change timing too because everything's going to start morphing.
It's like you'll be in the middle and everything will be fine, and then all of a sudden night falls and it's a different story.
Yeah. So is there any word on 5-6 hitting live? Yeah, we're waiting for a couple last blockers to get cleared up, and then we're going to push it live. Yeah, the Night stuff is pretty cool.
Very cool.
I just sitting in Greybox World watching the sun kind of go through the sky.
A very, very quick night-day cycle.
It's super fast right now, so we can test things.
Yeah. I was actually watching the sunrise and sunset over the course of like 2 minutes. Like, yeah, that's very pretty.
Yeah, but if we're testing stuff, we kind of need those speeds because otherwise you wouldn't want to sit there and wait for any breakthrough in performance in large-scale combat. That's what engineering is working on right now, Tark, which is why we're kind of holding things. Let's read some more patch notes.
Sure.
Added a chat command to EK display parcel owner. Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody knows about the slash commands for the EK stuff that went online with 5.6, the vassal stuff, but there is an entire list, and apparently now you can display the parcel owner. Showing icons for objects in the EK, added the token count to the inventory window. Yes, if you just open your inventory, it will show you the tokens available. And it is showing you the limits of I think it's the one that you're standing on. I haven't played with it too much, but I've noticed it in there because the very first day it was all garbled and it took up the entire screen. That was pretty amusing. The EK parcel bar displays the names of each parcel. Great. Setting crafting stations to small instead of medium token size because they couldn't place enough stations in their houses. Implemented a chat command that shows you who the owner of the parcel you're standing with is. Player movement. Fixed a hitch while trying to switch to stealth tray while airborne. In fact, that was later fixed in another way.
Yeah, fixed with a bigger hammer.
Which is you can't go stealth while you're not grounded. Player with Masters of Bows should now be able to jump while in the range tray. Sprint is now a client immediate hold and release power. So is it jump? I want to say it's jump as well. Basically, we put a bunch of stuff to be client immediate so it looked good from a blending perspective, and it didn't seem like it was pausing for a quarter of a second. Which, interestingly, I've been reading some reports on the forums that people are saying powers feel like there is a slight delay after they activate it. So we need to bug QA to look at that. Apply fly direction for powers that have a vertical root motion without waiting for liftoff, since some jumps have a slight skid before takeoff. Okay. Fixed an issue with walk was getting stuck after any movement or action. Walk was the other one that we made client immediate. And In fact, it was happening on every single thing that you did, and then you were trapped in walk mode. C is currently the toggle for walk. Walk is now a toggle power. So know that if you turn it on, it will stay on until you toggle it off. The C key probably isn't the best spot because people keep fat fingering it because it's right there in your space jumping madness area. So we should put that off to the side to an appropriate one, and then you can remap it to whatever you want to, but C is not a good default for that. Added a fix for shield slam getting stuck by jumping or sprinting. All right. Fixed an issue with teleport desync for observed players, which means people that were watching you. And what do we got? Do you see my video where the Myrmidon net hitting a gliding fade does not cause them to crash, but they keep gliding? Yes. We don't have a way to knock them out of the sky if they get hit with something. But that was a pretty good setup. And it took him, like, he was standing on a wall and the bad guy ran behind him and through in front. And it was like one of those Top Gun moments where he's like,
totally.
It's too close to missiles, I'm switching to guns. And then he kept going. So it totally fell on its face. But we will look at doing that at some point. We will see further review of Sheen versus specific tuning options for crafting beyond the 5/6 change to Necromancy Final Combine. Yes, we will see those on res as they come online and as we start to kind of polish things up in the crafting system. All attacks left mouse button aren't carrying when grounded, for example. Confessors can attack while jumping backwards, thus kiting and damaging at the same time.
Well, if that's true, then we'll probably nerf it.
I don't know. Are basics attacks set to require grounded?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I mean, there was a time when we were much more open to those things, but since they're introducing bugs and people are unhappy with it, we've been removing them. So it's entirely possible that that is in fact true, and if it is, then we'll probably just
this is also bunny hopping.
Render them more equal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is pretty much your definition of bunny hopping.
Right.
Glide is a toggle. Only hard CCs interrupt toggles. It's not technically a toggle in the sense that you guys are. I think we're toggling on the server. It's not the power system that's toggling it. But it is a toggle thing. It's just I don't do it in the power system. But we can answer your question about the Confessor thing right now. Because Confessor, basic attack. No, it does require grounded.
Okay, so there you go. So Confessor basics all require, they're all grounded.
Yeah, the Confessor basics all require grounded. So who's spreading those lies?
Yeah.
Or is it not their basic attacks? It wouldn't surprise me.
That's possible, right? I mean, we have a lot of abilities, right? So
yeah, most of these look like they're set to grounded. Grounded. All of the Hellfire requires grounded, and since those are a combo chain, Meteor Purge grounded.
Yeah. I mean, that's a charge.
So back to whose question was that? That was Soul Reaver's?
Yeah.
So Soul Reaver, is that specifically Confessor powers, or is that Discipline powers that the Confessor has loaded out?
I mean, that's possible too.
Right. Because there's a whole slew of those.
Yeah, if you have any specific examples, let us know, because we just looked and Confessor's left mouse buttons should require grounded. So
yes,
grounded check is not working, or it is not what you think it is.
So balance and the ultimate. Some classes gain soul power faster than others. They can pre-charge it.
Well, actually, what I would like to actually know an example of what class can gain soul power more quickly than another. Some classes have more cheap soul power costs, so they can get to the point where they can use their soul power more quickly, but everybody uses the same the same passive under the hood to grant them soul power when you cause damage, take damage.
It's also ticking, so it doesn't.
Right, it's ticking, so it doesn't rate of it. I mean, very specifically designed to work around issues of, well, this class hits physically does more hits than this class, and more designed to be like, are you attacking? Great, as long as you're continuing your attack, you will keep trickling away. So that shouldn't be true. If it is, I'd be curious to know where or why, because it's unintended behavior. Pre-charging, I mean, you shouldn't, like, by pre-charging, if you mean fighting mobs, that's, to me, is not pre-charging, right? That's not without risk, right? I mean, even if you're just still fighting boars, you were paying the cost of wear and tear on all your equipment and whatnot, right? So you were paying for the cost of fighting that boar, is still damaging your equipment while you do it. So that is a non-zero cost.
And we disabled it from things like dummies anyway.
Right. So you shouldn't be able to do it on dummies. Basically, you shouldn't be able to do it without risk. Right.
Right.
And
yeah,
if there are examples of that, please let us know, because we want to basically nip those in the bud. Right. So, like, obviously, like Blair just said, can't gain it while attacking a dummy. You can't get it from healing yourself. We want you to be able to get it from healing others, but not yourself. Things like that.
You can't shoot bows as well as left mouse button while jumping, except for the Fesser.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. And, write that down with your word maker.
With my word maker,
your analog word creation device. We'll look at it when we get back to our desks.
All right, what else we got?
So Ranger Rapid Fire gives soul power faster because they can attack faster. Incorrect. Ranger Rapid Fire should not give soul power any more quickly than anything else, because it's applying an overtime effect.
Yeah,
right. So that's specifically what I was talking about when we're talking about the number of hits Class A does versus B. I think you will find it actually doesn't charge it any more quickly than just doing normal basics. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we did on DC, right?
Exactly. That is exactly where I got that idea.
This is the exact thing that we did on DCUO, which is
that was my my answer to the to that very
right. So to sum that up, some classes can attack fast. This is an age-old problem of the Daggers Rogue. They attack so fast and they proc more often. Versus classes that have like big, slow, heavy two-handers, we basically normalize them by
make it a regen.
Yep, we make it a regen thing, and that way it doesn't stack with itself. It can refresh itself, but basically you're not getting, for example, in the case of rapid fire, you don't get essentially 10 ticks, and the slow guy gets 1.
And I believe the regen time, we can look, but I believe the regen time is 3.5 seconds, specifically because Rangers have a 3-second charging basic, right? So I mean, as long as you are consistently attacking with whatever you got, it should be charging up at the same rate.
You can cancel with jumping the animation of some abilities, so you can save with the right timing some minutes. Think that works as well with the Fesser. Well, jump doesn't isn't an interrupt or a cancel.
Right. You shouldn't be able to jump cancel anything. You can dodge cancel, but again, dodge canceling for the purposes of cutting down your animation time or whatever, I'm fine with that, because you're paying a dodge point to do that, right? I mean,
it also
and if you do it too early, like I think you were about to say, you don't get any effect, right? You have to be it kind of takes skill to know when the effect is going to apply, and you can cancel without losing. And you're still paying the cost too, right? You pay the cost on activation, right? So you pay the activation cost, and then if you dodge too early, then you get nothing out of it. That's why I personally don't mind dodge canceling that much.
Yes. Okay.
Shouldn't be able to jump cancel. Shouldn't be able to jump.
Yeah, I would love a video if you have one. Okay. Are these pre-alpha versions counting up or down to anything? Do we keep incrementing it by 0.1 every time? 5.7 is in progress right now. 5.6 is in the final stages of the bug fixing, and then we'll start talking about 5.8 after that. I mean, Get Doggett's face off the T-Rex. That is one creepy dinosaur. Yes, you can tell Gibson is totally doing a whole lot over there. Good job, Gibson.
Gibson's very busy.
He's keeping us entertained.
Yes, he is.
Us all entertained.
Good job. Let's see. Burn the shirt, Blair. Jump and attack isn't possible except for the Fessor. Yeah. I mean, it's just, we're dubious because the powers say that shouldn't be possible. Okay, so we've made it this batch of questions. Let's start talking about the next ones.
All right, where are we at? Did we cover crafting?
No, we didn't.
Okay. So crafting updated the skill unlocks and display names for the EK crafting stations. The general station has no skill blocks, but will require a crafting station to make.
Okay.
Shifted where crafting recipes are available for pretty much everything, which is the skill trees, right? Marking crypt parcel recipe and crafting deck recipe as no longer prototype, so that means they're available.
Right.
So you should be able to see these. Under disciplines, fix the issue of being unable to equip a sickle while using Master of Sickles. Entering stealth mode now requires a player to be grounded. See previous note.
Yes.
And big hammers. Everybody's favorite. Druid Retaliate now causes damage and heals you for 3% of your maximum health over 3 seconds. For campaigns, fix to make sure POIs and data layers show up on the map. Shire parcel with the fork turned on works. So that's good, I guess. Move POI icons up to 0 elevation if they're negative elevation on the map. So that's basically thunking them, right? Canyon exported to get POI icons data layers so you can see icons on the map. Fix naming of parcels in morning. Fix lack of dragon spawns points. Dragon spawn points in morning? Oh, for the statues.
Yes.
Yes. I was like, where do we get dragons?
Dragons. What do we got here? Look at the Dryad healing orbs. It's a charging ultimate.
Okay.
All right.
That is unintended. If you are getting healing from something you do to yourself, or I'm sorry, if you're getting ultimate chargingness,
can we get the general station able to be made without requiring a station? Not able to be made unless we export one. Yeah, maybe we can clean that up. I mean, it is just one export right now, though. Can crafting that dino shirt be in game? No dino shirts in game.
Only if it shifts. If it's the dinosaur of many colors.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to keep reading then. General bug fixes. Fix the survivalist campfire missing the art. Potential fix for teleport sync causing a bug where you get locked as a crow and unable to move after releasing your corpse. That is a suck one. More improvements to NPC debugging. That's more for us and not for them. Fixed a string error that was displaying during the experimentation of some recipes. Yeah, they've lost all of their strings. Added the return to temple G interact prompt to teleport you back to the assigned temple. Yes, this is if you are a crow and you just get lost. You're just like, crap, I went the wrong way. G and it'll pop you back to the temple that you're assigned to. Fix the issue where mobs would continue to aggro when no opponent was present. Most noticeable on fort guards and keeps.
Yes, thank God.
That was them sitting there basically breakdancing.
Yep.
Who knows what they were doing, but...
breakdancing.
Yes. Adjusted the interact radius to 3 on the crypt cairn. Yeah, I guess it was too hard to target the collider fort. When a power would normally go on cooldown at the end of the power execution, it will now properly go on cooldown after being interrupted.
But only when it would normally go on cooldown. Otherwise, it's still broken. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that was... was this people doing a charged power and then interrupting it with a left click or something like that?
Yeah, probably.
And then it not having a cooldown. So Borland fixed that. Some tooltip fixes to tooltip going off the bottom of the screen. Please, can we be done with these tooltip off the screen bugs? They are they drive the engineers insane.
It's nice to be able to mouse over something and see it.
Yes. Adjusted the male fake camera offsets to not be so low. Yeah, he ended up considerably taller, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
Than I thought he was going to be. And I think they thought he was going to be a little lower, but because he was supposed to be more slouched. Then he ended up a little more upright than that.
Got some posture training.
Got some posture training, yes. Fixed the missing highlight for the active harvesting tool. Yeah, that was kind of frustrating too. You couldn't tell which tool you had equipped, and especially with big old wings, you couldn't see it. Reworked some key binding options so we can successfully bind ESDF instead of WASD for movement. I was totally unaware of how important to many people ESDF is.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of WASD.
Because you get the A for...
Right, because then you open up the A and the W for keys. But I'm guessing keyboard manufacturers aren't aware of that because I've never seen... Like this keyboard here has gray highlights.
They should have included an E and an F for you. For that. That's basically kind of what I... Because I have done that I actually did that on that other MMO that people like to play.
Yes. I also like to... You can also rub some sandpaper over the keys too, just to put some texture on them. For those of you that don't know, if you don't have special keys, just take a little bit of like 50 grit sandpaper and just scuff it up a little bit, and that way your finger will feel...
Or you can put them in the freezer overnight before you play, and then they'll be cooler than the rest.
But then you have to do that all the time. Sandpaper is more of a permanent...
Yeah, that's true. That's cheaper than freezing your keys.
Also, you're introducing water into your... Yeah, sandpaper is the cheapest.
Don't take me seriously. Come on.
Let's see. Increase the Duber trigger volume size so they're easier to pick up. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was annoying.
Update Vessel tooltip to show base stats and points spent, and fix bug with Ganetian basic attack appearing unusable. Okay. Yeah, I think what Akshay did is there's a new tooltip in the crypt that will show you the vessel that you're looking at. It will show you what level it is and where the attribute points have been spent on it and what disciplines were last used in it.
Nice.
So you can actually tell between your different crypt characters what is equipped on them. What do we got here? Stack splitting menu goes off the screen if you try and split something in the bottom row of your inventory. That is... Yes, we should kick a bug over to Tim. Jack. That's a good one. That is a good one.
Tarkinator.
Yeah, it's for people who use lots of stacks of stuff. They're probably the ones who suffer from this the most. Blair offers a warranty if you mess up your keyboard. Hey, this channel is solely for entertainment.
Yeah, just use a belt sander. Just like...
Any updates on the developments of crafting factories or blueprints? No, they're going to be after the next phase of crafting, which is the crafting projects and that whole new UI. Frostweaver has, designed, been approved. We still need to have a meeting with tech to see if we can do all the fancy things we want to do. That's all that's holding that one up, and then scheduling it out for when we should implement it. Can you clarify the difference between leather and plate armor? Is it only mitigation?
So leather armor actually also gives you a damage bonus.
Mm-hmm. It also gives you a healing bonus.
Yes, damage and healing bonus. This is true. Yes, so that's probably the biggest reason you'd want to wear leather over plate is because you want to do more damage and for at the cost of getting less mitigation and less health too. So.
Yes. The mitigation is that low on purpose. I think it baselines at 10%, or is it 5%?
I don't remember.
It's been a while.
But it's lower.
It's clearly lower than plate. Cooking stations do not count as fire. Help us. Yes. There is a challenge with that. It's a mechanical one. It's because the campfire is pulsing and placing an effect on the player so that they know they're near a campfire. And our crafting stations do not pulse. They're just simply F interacts. So that is a thing, unfortunately. we would have to put a pulsar on that sucker if we want to let the same recipes be done, which is probably what we're going to end up doing. But it's a thing. I can only think of one question. Guy on the left, why is your mustache not gray like every other hair on your head? He must be talking to me.
Guy on...
Because I'm the one that has a mustache. And
you are the guy on the left, aren't you?
What's funny is my hairstylist says it's like everyone's face is like a Picasso. Your colors are going to be different.
About his hair?
Look, the question is...
It's a question about Blair's hair.
Why is your mustache not gray like the rest of every other hair on your head?
Okay, that's funny, and I like that they're mocking you, but you don't have to respond.
Okay. Hello, I recently found out about this game. Love what there is so far. Great.
All right, thank you.
And if you post on the forums, we will read your stuff, as everyone here will gladly tell you that we respond to all of these things, and we pay attention to what everybody says. So welcome aboard, and thanks for joining us.
Will duelists ever be able to swap between range and melee depending on weapon disc like most other classes? You mean, I assume you mean by having a separate tray like Ranger? Probably not, because that sort of the design of the duelist is to be first, sort of that mixed range and melee, mid-range kind of character, and then if you want a full want to make the duelist a full range thing, there's a pistol mastery, weapon mastery discipline that you can get.
Correct. So they don't get another tray. You pick one or the other. Yeah. It's an either or situation for those guys. Is this game action combat? Yes, it is. It is primarily a reticle-based target, so you have to be somewhat good at aiming. Let's see.
That they're mocking you.
Yes.
Right.
Any information on the possible design details that have been okayed but not sure that can be implemented?
Possible.
Oh, Frostweaver.
Perhaps. Oh, Frostweaver. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them because then it's a promise.
Yeah.
And then we broke our promise if we can't have those things. Because I did ask for quite a lot on that one. I currently live in Australia. Wondering if there are going to be any West US servers. It wouldn't surprise me because our limitation on where our servers are is based on where Amazon has AWS servers.
Avatar's West.
Is Avatar West?
Yep.
But is there AWS stuff on Australia?
We will have... I think there's going to be... We have put up Australian servers in the past.
Okay.
It's just that there's not a huge population on those. So, from what I remember, there will be... that area will have its own servers.
Great. So we have the capability to do it, and we have done it in the past. We just found that we didn't have a lot of people playing in Australia yet.
Yep.
And when we have that, then I'm pretty sure we'll... Yep. Yeah, basically anywhere that we can prop a Amazon server, we can go ahead and spool up game servers. Yeah, that's right. I remember the Sydney one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last notes here, I think, is fixed a bug where adding pips to the skill node, both campaign and EK, doesn't update the stats real time. So now they update in real time. Added skill trees prereqs values to take into account new skill node value. What the?
I don't know. That's some engineer gibberish.
That's some gibberish. Updated the vessel tooltip to show stuff. Yes, and that is the patch notes for what's going up on 5.6. Again, the keynote features are the new skills UI stuff that was done, the removal of time banks, and just putting it into training at the tree level, spending your points, the normalization of the XP, and then on the other side, the big work that was done in the EK to make the vassal stuff work, so I can make Mark a vassal in my kingdom, and he can now have the right to put down vendors and other things. So hopefully we'll start to see a bunch of cooler, bigger kingdoms that are centered around shopping and things like that, and everybody won't have to go to Onrez's Duber Shack for their... Or maybe that will become basically the Target or the Walmart of the world.
Not a bad place to be.
Not a bad place to be. I just came back from 6 months. Lots of great progress. Great work. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we a lot of times it doesn't seem like we're moving forward very fast, but there's a lot of features that come online and a lot of stuff that changes from update to update. What can you tell us about future or viable wins in the future campaign worlds? That's going to be interesting, Durenthal. As soon as we have cluster worlds online, we can start thinking about that stuff. Because we have to go back in and rewrite it anyways, because now that we have multiple worlds, it's just not going to work. Because right now, they would all look at their own zone, essentially, for a win condition. Can we get the colors? Yeah,
It's like messaging stuff.
yeah. The sushi bite, that seems like a bug that Jack should write down and send over to the UI team.
Yeah, there's a good one. Can I kill people in open world and take all their stuff?
You'd have to be able to beat them.
Mm-hmm. Assuming you can kill them.
Mm-hmm. Crafting. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the answer to that, right? Obviously, full loot in the dregs.
In the dregs. Yeah, it's based on the world band that you play in, what the amount of loot you can take from them is.
So to answer your question is yes, or it depends.
Any plans to add commands where you can toggle PvP on specific parcels?
Specific parcels.
I think right now it's a global command because that's probably was the easiest one to implement, as well as a lot of people don't realize that they're standing on a parcel or not.
Yeah.
Except the person who's obviously building
if
the
you built
kingdom.
it, obviously you know it's a parcel, but I mean, we've tried very hard to hide those lines.
Right, we've done a lot of work to make sure you can't see the seams where the parcels are stitched together. Any info on when any large UI changes may be... We're always implementing large UI changes.
So that would be 5.6 would be the next large UI change.
Yep. Any chance of race class advocates on the forum? We're not to the point yet where we're ready to start doing that stuff. Hello, Acho. I've come from a game where equally geared people can die in seconds once crowd controlled. Is this game going to be any similar? How quickly can assassins assassinate?
Yeah, so couple things on that. For one, we're trying to have a time to kill of 15-ish seconds. Now, granted, obviously there's a lot of variation on that, but you should be able to basically survive long enough to retaliate and muster a counterattack, right? We have a our anti-CC thing that we use is called retaliate. And as long as you have stamina, you can retaliate. So if you get CC'd, I believe the longest you're going to get CC'd is, I think, 5 seconds. But if you have the stamina to retaliate, which stamina comes back very quickly, you'll be able to cancel that CC at a touch of a button and hopefully mount a counterattack. And after retaliation, you have a small window of time that you can't be crowd controlled again. Your character gets a little shader for just a couple of seconds, but it's enough time for you to potentially give a response to the person who is melting your face. So,
yes. And there are skills and things that you can train to either make CCs longer or make CCs shorter. Right. There is the skew of skill training on top of that.
Right, because I mean, unlike a shooter where it's basically whoever can draw a bead and get the headshot first wins. Right, this is more of a more of a tactical game. At least one on one or many on many. So,
is there a delay when an item drops before you can pick it up?
Nope.
Like a doober, or do you mean like a corpse? So there should be.
Yeah, you should be able to pick up a doober right away. You should be able to loot a corpse as soon as it becomes a corpse. Right, as soon as somebody has death blown the person and sent them.
Oh, I see what you want here. An arena parcel for an EK would be awesome.
Sure. Yeah,
I would think that would probably be something within there, like a fighting ring or something like that, if we wanted to do it. Again, because the seams of the parcel to anyone but the builder of the world is pretty much seamless.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is you can't see those seams, so it just looks like a flat world. So we would do it by hey, here's a big structure that looks like it's an arena. Yeah, we see what you're asking for, Tarkin Blazing. As I said, if it was a building, that would make sense. If it's a parcel, most people aren't really aware of the parcels.
Yeah, and that's a good one. That's a good one of those. Not right now, but maybe in the good idea for the future kind of thing, right? I mean, that's a good idea. So.
Is that why it announces the parcel? Well, those don't specifically line up perfectly all the time.
The UI is that's not necessarily fast, right? I mean, there's a little delay, but I mean, we're not hiding it, right? We're not hiding the lines. It's just we're not hiding the fact that you're on parcel XYZ. We're just trying to make it look nice. We're making the world look nice, so it doesn't look like it is a giant Tetris construct. But an arena would be far cooler than parcel. For sure.
Assassin has an 8-second stun. I don't know if that's the base or if that's someone with skill training.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess Assassin is a special case because we let you do you can do 5 combo point stun and get a really long stun. But that is the exception to that. And again, you can retaliate that. So
the new stamina based retaliate is awesome. Great, glad you like it. I like to mess around my EK, but people aren't going to want to come and buy things if they are scared and will get... Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's why it would be a building. Because that way you could see that that's a building and if you step in there.
Right.
Not... it's not a device used to trap people.
Right.
Yeah, we had that in Galaxies, remember?
There's always been that, right? Even EverQuest arenas, right? There was the whole lure you into the hidden arena and then kapow.
Well, it was funny in Galaxies because wasn't it you would put people in the house and then you could put furniture down and prevent them from getting out?
That was a thing, yeah. That you could actually there was a particular dresser that was best for.
Yeah, it was a
right?
That's right.
The dresser, right? Because it fit perfectly over the door and it came out in such a way that it was already oriented properly. So you'd just be like, "Come on in, bam." See ya.
And you couldn't get out of it because there wasn't recall or any of those things in those days.
You didn't have Star Wars, no teleportation, right? It's no teleportation in Star Wars. So
yes,
the good old days.
Yep, everyone's waiting for the new update, Drenthal, and that's how it happens. Everyone shows up at the beginning. Are there any plans to smooth out? We've been focusing recently on skill trees and NPC combat rather than the player stuff. Yeah. We still fix bugs here and there as they come up.
And I want to point out too, also, a lot of this has to do with just general performance too, right? Like, and improving that, right? So yes, the answer to that is yes. There are plans. We will continually return to that and improve that as we go along.
There needs to be a timer on the corpse so the winner has a chance to lop the head off. Well, that's kind of the risk of sticking around to see if someone can res you, is you potentially might lose your head, or you can. I think the little mini game that's in there is appropriate right now. Just put big red danger flags. Again, a big red danger flag is a building.
Yeah.
Right. A big giant building that looks like an arena is plenty of a warning. You don't have to do any other kind of tech.
Right. And we could even just put it in the name, PvP PvP arena, whatever. You're gonna die if you step in here.
I mean, when farming wood. Okay, so this is the person who Hellglazer asked the question about picking up stuff. It seems like there's a moment I can't grab the loot off the ground, or the item pickup range is weird. Well, the item pickup range got increased.
It was weird. So you're right on that.
And correct. You may feel a little bit of weirdness because, as we've shown before, the character's collider is actually a little bit behind you as you're moving around. Because on the server, it's always just a little bit behind because you have to send off the commands.
Yeah.
So it may feel like you hit the thing, but you actually didn't.
Right. And so the problem being, like, if I'm trying to see what the camera sees here. So if the circle is a duber and you run right over that duber, right? The collision was basically the same size as the duber, so you had to run right over the duber, and you basically, because of that, the server being a little bit behind, it felt like you had to run over a couple times, but really it's just your server pill had to catch up to it. Right. Now that the range is actually bigger than that, it should just feel better. It should feel natural now. So sorry about that.
Yeah, that was just a tuning issue. I think Todd hit on this at some point, but there are any plans to further specialize weapon crafting into slashing, piercing, bludgeoning, or something of the sort? Well, we have all of those weapons in the crafting system. We've got axes, we've got daggers, we've got maces. So I'm not sure how you would specialize what that alludes to. EQ1, you turn on group trade only and park a mage in the area and summon them to the arena and kill and loot. I got a 1 week vacation for doing that, but made a lot of coin.
Yeah. Yep. All the good old tricks.
Yes.
Oh, you can release faster than they swing the axe. Oh, that's...
Yeah, I mean, that means that if they're sticking around, they're waiting for a res. Right. Or they're just bugging out. Either way, you won. Mm-hmm. Right? So getting someone's head shouldn't just be assumed. That you should have to work for it a little bit. Yep. You are welcome, Freight86. Any info on scouting? Nope. More exploration stuff will come online as we put more content in. No durability loss, so you can practice without wasting gear. Kind of like stuff to go away. Maybe you should have a practice set. Can you make a piercing damage mace? No.
Yeah.
Right now, the weapon, the damage type is determined by the object type. And you kind of know, it's a good telegraph for everyone's using crushing damage, so I should use counter to crushing damage. Right.
No, it doesn't preclude you from getting a crazy discipline that we might make someday, which is like, I don't know, the spiky weapon discipline that could override it, but not naturally. You couldn't naturally craft one like that.
When will you add open forums? I think that was done for a lot of the spamming reasons.
Yeah, I replied.
Okay. Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
Have they already expected when they expect 5.6 to hit live? Very soon. Very soon. Is there any glaive wielding classes? The closest we have to glaives right now are polearms for the centaur racials, which I prototyped. I just haven't added them back into the game yet. But the centaurs as a racial weapon, because then everyone is going to ask, where's my racial weapon? Yeah. Because the centaurs get everything as well as the first racial weapon, because we had them on hand. But their racial weapon is the polearm. Or poleaxe and polemace. I wanted the polearm for the Elkin.
Mm-hmm. But that is a slippery slope we will jump down one day.
Are class abilities dependent on the weapon equipped, like Champion Rend? Is that crushing or slashing, or is it based on what the weapon is equipped?
Some of them require a specific weapon. Most all of them, I want to say all of them right now, just require whatever your class uses as a weapon. So, and then I guess the correct answer to that is, though we could do that, we're not doing that right now.
Okay. I thought Banner offered a damage convert to electricity.
I think sure. I believe it
does. I think there's a ticket in on the fact that it wasn't actually converting it.
Yeah.
Basically, we're overloading the damage.
You guys got 2 minutes.
Okay. But you did exclude a few of us. Want to have actual discussion and throw you guys suggestions while they were asked for. Okay. Yeah, it was just, I think the greater evil there was the evil of the spammers, which still continue to show up. I get a bunch of reports of kanji characters posts. I don't understand what they're saying, but there's just hundreds of them, and Jack has to
deal with that.
Valve normally deals with that.
Oh, is it?
The daily chore.
I heard some class abilities were specific damage types regardless of what weapon is equipped.
Yeah, so I mean there are abilities that do, like, for example, like a lot of confessor abilities. Well, confessor weapon that's a bad choice, but like Templar, for example, has a few like their field that name escapes me, but does fire damage, for example, right? And some of the champions' abilities specifically do crushing damage. So even if you're wielding a a bladed weapon, it'll still do crushing damage. So, but those I believe should be called out.
Well, we see new weapon disciplines for Bastard Swords, Short Swords, etc. I believe the Master of Great Swords is still the same as Master of Swords. Will this be changing at some point? At some point,
probably.
I would still like to get a way to differentiate the weapons with speed, haste effects, whatever. But it's a whole bunch of tech because we have to speed up the animation, we have to speed up the playback of the sound and the effects. So there's a lot
of unknowns,
a lot of slew of work there in speeding stuff up. But that is how we would make two long swords deal. One being able to be a big hitter and one being able to be a fast swinger. How many players can be on screen at a time? We haven't really done a lot of that, or at least I haven't. I know the engineer who's been working on that has what they call the character zoo, where they just load up hundreds of characters to... I think we showed a screenshot of that in the last video, in the 5.5 video.
Yeah, there's a clip of it.
It's called the Character Zoo. What about classes that can use multiple weapon types, like all Knight Shield abilities are crushing? Well, all the Knight Shield abilities are crushing because the shields are supposed to be crushing, right? Basically, we're simulating that you're hitting with the shield. That's why all of the Knight Shield weapon or shield attacks are crushing. Because it would be silly if I got slashed with the shield. When can we expect to see mounts in game for testing? That is a future. The doc has been written. It's been through code. So that one's more of a when are we going to schedule it?
Yeah.
And it is 12:01.
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. So you're welcome, Blazin. And Arcade's going to sharpen the edges of his shield. Great. Oh, that's a good question. Are you planning any weapon on hit procs? People like proc tunes. Yep, we use procs all the time.
Yeah.
I think I have a prototype mace in there that has a proc fire attack on it.
Yeah. So it's been prototyped, and we can do it, and you probably bet you we will. So.
Yeah, we just don't have a good way to add the proc to that actual object, but that's a future ask. But at least we can make it work. Okay. Thanks everyone for showing up for the second live stream of the month. First live stream.
First live
stream. Second video thing of the month. Next week will be the live stream where we typically show something new. And I have a pretty good idea what we're going to show for next week. Maybe we'll show some of the day-night stuff. And that sounds fun because that'll be some 5.7 stuff. And you guys have a good week. Thanks for showing up. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you later.
Bye.